In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to create mahogany. Okay. So what we're using an acrylic glaze. We're using glycerine, a drop of glycerine, and that's to extend the open time because we don't want it to go off too quick. We're using some burnt umber colorant and some burnt sienna. And with them, I've mixed up the glaze that we're going to use for the first coat. Okay, so this is the acrylic glaze. We're going to do this in 2 stages. So the first stage, you're going to be putting the background on, and then next week when you come, when this is dry, you'll be putting the foreground on. So just with a normal synthetic 1.5" brush, you're just going to paint this panel. I've got a cloth, so it doesn't matter if I go over the edges. I'm just going to paint it all on so it's nice and covered. I suppose if you was doing a lot of these, you could maybe roll it, but then you would have to use your brush to put some type of light grain marking. Okay, so I'm just going to go down it now, just with a brush, and that kind of imitates a little bit of grain. Then all I'm going to get is the flogger. Okay, now remember with the flogger, when you're using it, you don't tap the top on the surface, you tap it there. Now if you remember when you've done oak, you've worked down, okay? When you're doing mahogany, you want a bigger pour, so you work up. So starting at the bottom, using the flat middle of the brush, you work up the panel until you get to the top. And then start again. See, I'm trying to do the full flat of the brush, and like that. If you've not got any, a bit like this one, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have to just do the bottom. Like that. We're going to go over it with another layer. Now that there is good enough to leave. Okay, I'm just going to wipe off the excess. So the panel is left like that. Okay. To do the mouldings is going to be a little bit, not tricky, but you're going to have to be quite neat and careful when you're using the flogger. Okay, so I'm just going to apply it. And as I mentioned when we do oak, remember that this is to represent wood. So you need to keep them miters, you need to keep it as realistic as possible. Now just using the edge of the flogger now, I'm just going to start, and I'm just going to go all the way like that to the top. And if you want, you can use your rag just to sharpen that edge. I'm going to take off the excess, because every part, if you think about wood, every part is a different piece of wood. Like that. So basically you're going to work around each panel like that. Okay, so I won't do it all right now. Once you've done the panels, if you see how I've masked it off so it's only left these 2 rails, the lock rail and the bottom rail. As it's masked off like this, I can do the 2 panels and the mouldings there, I can do the munting, and I can do the 2 styles all the way to the bottom. So when you come in the next time, all you've got to do is these 2 bits. Okay. And as I say, it's acrylic. You might even get it done all in one day, because as it's acrylic, you might be able to mask it up later in the day and just finish them 2 bits. So exactly the same, just how we've done the mouldings, you'd be doing the muntins and the styles. Don't try and overbrush it, Don't rub it out until you can't see the colour. You want to see the colour, then you want to see the effect. Okay, so just laying it off as straight as you can, making sure it doesn't look like brush marks. Okay, and then exactly the same with your flogger. This one is a bit close to the wall. Remember, we should have done that one at the top. Start with your flogger. I'm going to have to just, I'll come back to that. Doing exactly the same motion and just working up, so I'm just tapping all the way up. To do that bit with a tip, but you see how I've done that with a tip? Can you see how it sort of looks lines? So that's why you need to do it with the whole of it. So I'll have to just go up for that bit. Okay, and again, always wipe. You've probably done the mouldings by now. Just being careful, so make sure that you're wiping up all the excess all the time. Okay, so in this you're going to do all of that, all of this, and you're just going to be left with the two top areas. So this is the first part of this demonstration. When I do the next layer, I'll add the second part of the demonstration.